that certain candidates could not be hired because they have a disability. They are white men. They are straight white men. They are not of the, quote, right religion. All of these are verbatim quotes. Do you know that it is happening? That the State Department perceives, and this is, I believe, as a result of your work, that they have a mandate to discriminate against, as the email says, to discriminate against people with disabilities, to discriminate against white men, to discriminate against straight white men, and to discriminate against people that are not of the, quote, right religion. I'm not sure what that meant, but I suspect it meant that if someone is a Christian. I don't know that because that's not what the email says. Are you aware these practices are happening at the State Department?
What looks like a routine Senate oversight hearing quickly escalates into a sharp confrontation as Senator Ted Cruz reads directly from an internal State Department email arguing that it reveals discriminatory patterns in federal hiring practices. Cruz asserts that the email reflects a situation where candidates could be excluded not for lack of qualifications, but based on identity factors such as being white men, straight white men, individuals with disabilities, or people associated with certain religions. He presents this as evidence that diversity and inclusion policies within the Biden-era State Department may have been applied in a way that undermines merit-based hiring. On the other side of the exchange is a senior State Department official who responds that they had not seen the email before, were not aware of its contents, and maintains that discrimination is not permitted or supported under department policy. The hearing centers on this clash. Cruz's interpretation of the email as evidence of discriminatory practice versus the official's insistence that no such policy exists within the department.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ambassador Abercrombie Winstanley. The Biden administration, I believe, is staffed by radicals. The State Department has consistently alienated our friends and appeased our enemies. You're empowered as the State Department's first standalone Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. Your mandate is to promote a concept on the left called equity, which I think is nothing more than brazen discrimination. You were appointed in April 2021, and as you extensively testified this morning, you introduced fundamental changes to the State Department hiring practices in line with the mandate of equity to affirmatively and aggressively discriminate. A year after your appointment, in April 2022, the State Department released its, quote, equity action plan to integrate these so-called equity principles into, quote, all aspects of State Department foreign affairs. That very week, just days after you published the equity action plan, and 1 year after you began your tenure, a senior State Department official broadly distributed what I consider to be a very troubling email. I have a copy of that email next to me. Let me read from a part of the email. The email says that hiring practices have developed inside the State Department so that, and I'll quote, that certain candidates could not be hired because they have a disability. They are white men. They are straight white men. They are not of the, quote, right religion. All of these are verbatim quotes from the email of a senior State Department official. My first question to you is, did you clear this guidance?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I've never seen that before.
You've never seen the email before?
I've never seen it.
So you didn't know it had been sent?
This is the first time I'm seeing it, sir.
Well, do you know that it is happening? That the State Department perceives, and this is, I believe, as a result of your work, that they have a mandate to discriminate against As the email says, to discriminate against people with disabilities, to discriminate against white men, to discriminate against straight white men, and to discriminate against people that are not of the, quote, right religion. I'm not sure what that meant, but I suspect it meant that if someone is a Christian. I don't know that because that's not what the email says. Are you aware these practices are happening at the State Department?
Again, thank you for the question. I am definite and certain that they are not happening at the State Department. But again...
So do you believe the senior State Department official who sent this email was lying?
Senator, I can't comment on I don't know who that's from. I don't know if I've never seen it before. So
you're the chief diversity officer, and you're arguing you are certain discrimination is not happening at the State Department. Is that right? Was that what you're testifying? That's what you just said.
I am saying that it is against the law, and we certainly are not overtly or on purpose breaking the law in the Department of State. Certainly, there are members of our organization who do discriminate, who do harass, who do bully, which is why we are trying to put in place programs to address it and to strengthen accountability for those who do indeed break the law.
So you didn't clear this guidance, and after it was sent, you're testifying now that you remained unaware of it, so no one showed it to you. You were in the State Department for a year. You were empowered in your position in an unprecedented way. In your testimony, you talked about creating a DEIA data working group about hiring practices and a dedicated DEIA core precept. And your testimony is you didn't know that this discrimination was happening. My staff can transmit to you the exact header and the details of this email.
Okay.
But I have to say, Ambassador, I find it a little bit amazing that this discrimination is being reported to be ongoing in the administration, and you are professing to be unaware of it.
As the hearing ended, the atmosphere in the chamber remained extremely tense. What began as a standard political discussion had turned into a highly charged ideological confrontation, with Senator Ted Cruz standing firm and continuing to press his questions without backing down or moderating his language. Supporters of Cruz viewed the moment as an example of a rare instance where a senator directly challenged federal institutions rather than avoiding controversy. They contrasted his approach with other politicians who often use cautious language to avoid media criticism, arguing that Cruz brought attention to issues that are usually not discussed openly in Washington. Cruz focused his questions on whether diversity and inclusion policies within the federal government had gone beyond promoting equal opportunity and instead resulted in discriminatory outcomes. He argued that government institutions should not treat individuals differently based on race, gender, religion, or identity, regardless of the justification given. The response from State Department officials, described as limited and uncertain, further intensified public attention around the issue. For many observers, this combination of claims and lack of clear resolution increased the perception that the matter was more serious than a routine policy dispute. Cruz also framed the issue as a broader ideological concern, arguing that certain policy approaches divide people into categories of privilege and disadvantage, leading to unfair treatment based on identity rather than merit. The controversy spread widely because it connected to ongoing national debates about fairness, identity-based policy, and meritocracy. The internal email referenced in the hearing became a focal point, with its language interpreted by Cruz as evidence supporting his concerns about hiring practices. Overall, the hearing became symbolic of a larger cultural and political divide over how government institutions should balance diversity goals with equal treatment principles.